What's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I created this soft glam look right here. This is kind of my go-to look whenever I have to go somewhere. This is the look I wear. Also in this video I do bring up a lot of products that are actually my favorite, favorite products, like my ride or die holy grail products. So if you are interested in seeing that, definitely keep on watching. Also in this video, if there are any products that were sent to me for free, I will let you know in the description below, and it will say gifted, just to keep it transparent with you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and just jump into this video. So last night I actually used the Tula skincare, and this has AHAs in it. If you guys haven't used AHAs before, it's just like a gentle chemical exfoliation. So it's better than actually exfoliating your skin with like a walnut scrub like from Kylie Skincare. This is actually more gentle. So I went ahead and used the Tula skincare last night. This is the Beauty Sleep Overnight Repair Treatment. I do recommend using some type of chemical exfoliation before you do like a soft glam look, just because it will get rid of any dead skin and make your skin very soft. So I went ahead and used that last night. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with putting a little bit of oil on my skin. If you haven't used facial oil before, I do recommend trying some type of facial oil. I know The Ordinary has some pretty good ones. This one is from Clarins. I've been using their Lotus one. I've never used this one before, but I do like the other one that they have, which is the Lotus one. This is the Blue Orchid treatment oil, and this one has patchouli and blue orchid. So this is supposed to help with dry skin and help rehydrate. So I always like to do this before my makeup, especially in the winter. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple drops all over my skin, let that sit, and then I can go ahead and do the rest of my makeup. All right, so I'm just going to add a couple drops onto my hands, and then you're supposed to like rub it together to make it warm. I've been doing this for the Lotus one, but I've never tried this one before. And this one smells pretty strong. It has like a smell of patchouli in it with blue orchid. All right, so I always like to rub this in my hands. And I've been actually using like the Clarins treatment oil for years, but I always use the Lotus one. And I personally feel like it helps reduce the oil in your skin. This one that I'm using is actually for dry, so that is why I'm using this one in the winter. Alright, so while I let that oil sink in, I'm grabbing my Precisely My Brow Pencil. This one is in 3.5, this is from Benefit Cosmetics. So once I went ahead and already kind of brushed my eyebrows, I'm going to use the other side to line my brows. And I'm just going to fill in anything that's really sparse. I don't really do a lot if I'm doing like a really soft glam look. Alright, so I'm going to leave the brows like that. Sometimes I do go in again with the brow pencil just to fill it in again at the very end if I do see a lot of sparseness. So I'm going to go ahead and just start doing the face. A lot of the products I'm going to use, I'm going to talk to you guys about why I use them and how it like really helps your makeup last all night. So the first thing I'm going to use is the Pores No More Primer from Dr. Brandt. This is my favorite primer. It's a crime not to prime, so if you're not using primer, you'll probably notice that sometimes your foundation will start to crack. I highly recommend using primer. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that in my T-zone specifically. And then sometimes I will bring a little bit of primer right here. So I usually like to wait like a couple minutes before I go on to the next step, just to let everything really sink in. Okay, so I'm going to pick up the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie. This is a foundation from the company PUR, and this is in the shade TN1. I really like this brush from the Jeffree Star and Morphe collection. Like this one specifically I think is really good for foundation. So we're going to use that brush and we're going to buff it all over the skin. So using a brush like dense like this will really help get the most full coverageness out of your foundation. So what I like to do is sort of pat it down and then just blend out. If you guys notice, I'm sort of going in really circular motions, especially like right where I have my pores. So if you guys see me do that in my T-zone, it just really helps your T-zone look very diffused. I've seen Wayne Goss do that on his channel. So going in like this, circular motions like that will help just like it will just help like the foundation really sink into your pores and just look a lot more smooth. So I always go in like this. Do spend a lot of time on doing your foundation and bringing it down below. Okay, so I'm picking up my Born This Way concealer from Too Faced, and this is in light beige. So it's kind of like a similar color to my foundation. Alright, so if you notice, I am not bringing like my concealer too high up. I'm mostly just applying it here just to kind of like create extra coverage, because I know here I do have a little bit of texture and like some pimples showing, and I'm not really going like right underneath my eye. The reason I'm not doing that is because before I used to bring my concealer like all the way high up here, and what used to happen was I would like blend it out and it would stay in my like eye creases underneath here, and it just didn't look good. So now going down below, it actually looks better. So as you guys see, I'm like blending that concealer, but like I said, like right on my cheeks where I have a little bit of texture and redness showing. And when I go up to my eyes, I'm only stopping like right here just to get like a little bit of my under eye, but I'm not going into like that crease underneath my eye, because I know the concealer is just going to sit in there and it's not going to look good throughout the day. Alright, so for my next step, I'm going to put powder all over my face. I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Banana. I actually think this one is a little bit darker than what I should be using. The lighter one is Butter, so I would recommend that, but this is the one I have, and I really like this powder. So when I use powder, I actually dust it all over the face and I wait a little bit to let it really sink in. So if I don't put powder all over the face, what I will notice is that the bronzer will kind of stick and cling into like the textured area. So if you are having that problem where you put on bronzer and blush, it is probably because you need to go in with another layer underneath. So I do recommend just dusting a little bit of powder all over the face. You don't need to do a lot, you just need to dust on a little bit and just let it sit. Okay, so I'm picking up my big Sigma large powder brush in F20. I'm going to get some powder, but I'm also going to dust it off on my hand so I don't apply too much. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and apply that all over the face. Okay, so I'm actually picking up a bronzer that is completely matte and doesn't have any sheen to it. So this is the Marc Jacobs 102 Tantric Omega Bronze. I bought this a while ago. It lasts forever. It is a little bit more pricier because like it's Marc Jacobs makeup, but it does really last a really long time. So when applying bronzer, especially on the cheeks, I used to like to go in and just rub it all in, but now I like to kind of like pat it down, and that's how I like to apply it. And I noticed if you do have textured skin, doing this type of technique where you're kind of just patting it down and not just brushing it all out actually makes it look a lot better and not like cling to those like textured areas. So I've applied a little bit already onto the cheek, and I prefer to use like bronzers that don't have any shine to them or any shimmer. I prefer to use anything that's matte. So if you have the Fenty Beauty one, that's actually a really good one as well. There's some really good ones in the drugstore as well. So I'm kind of just patting that on top and then blending it out. And I'm doing the same thing right here. I'm sort of just patting it on top just because I know I have a lot of texture. So you can add a little bit of powder underneath if you want it to look very contoured. Alright, so now that I have bronzer on, I'm going to pick up my Viseart blush palette. I love this palette. The shade that I use the most is like this orangey shade right here. And I'm just going to use that same brush. This is a Sigma brush. This is my favorite blush palette ever. Like all of the products that I'm using today are all my favorite products, and like brushes as well. Alright, so I like to go in with that like orangey sort of shade and just sort of blend that in with my bronzer. Alright, so I'm going in with the Amrezy highlight. This was supposed to be limited edition, but I've seen it come back a couple times. And I'm just applying a little bit right here. The brush I'm using is a Sigma highlighter brush. It's a tapered highlight brush in F35. And I apply my highlight literally right here. Sometimes I do bring it up just right there and maybe a little bit up here. Alright, so my last step, which is really important, is setting spray. I'm going to use the Skindinavia setting spray. This one is in bridal. This makes your makeup last all day. I've actually used it on brides before and their makeup has lasted all day. Alright you guys, so this is pretty much it for the face makeup. This is honestly like my go-to face makeup look. I just feel like it looks very soft, but everything, it looks smooth and nice. And all of the steps that I showed you guys, going in with primer, going in with foundation, a little bit of concealer and powder and setting spray, that is all going to make your makeup last all day. Usually when I do my makeup using all of these steps, my makeup lasts all day. Alright, so for the eyes, it is so important that you go in with a really good base. So I like the P. Louise base. They now sell this at Morphe. This one is in Rumor 01. I feel like the color Rumor actually fits me better. So I'm just going to apply that all over the lid. Okay, I'm picking up the Soft Glam palette from ABH. I love this palette. I feel like I never use it on this channel, so I'm going to use it today and show you guys kind of like my go-to makeup look. Okay, so the look that I've been really liking lately is going in with like a lot of pinks. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which is Dusty Rose, and I'm going to apply that all over the crease. So I'm just picking up a blending brush and I'm going to tap off. I feel like ABH shadows just tend to be a little bit more powdery. So we're just going to apply that into the crease and go back and forth. If you don't have the Soft Glam palette, but you have the Modern Renaissance palette, pick that up too, because it is very similar. Like, I feel like they use some of the same shades as well. So as always, I'm going back and forth, windshield wiper motions and circular motions. I always hold my brush pretty lightly. Now I am going pretty high up right here in my brow bone, just because I do have hooded eyelids. So I'm gonna grab a little bit more of Dusty Rose and just apply that right here on the outer corner of the lid. And I'm sort of just patting it there just to get the most pigment. So this is what your eyes should start to look like. So the next two steps are really easy. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply some shimmers. So I'm grabbing this shimmer right here, which is Rose Pink, and it's just a really pretty shimmer. And then I'm also going to add these two shades together on the lid, but I'm gonna start off with Rose Pink. You can go ahead and just use your finger. I feel like Anastasia shimmer shades just apply so much better when you use a finger, I've just noticed. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that into the lid and just go into my inner corner. But yeah, this is just one of my go-to palettes. Like, the shimmers in it are really good. It has great transition shades. It's just overall a really good palette. And if you guys notice, I sort of bring that up all the way up to here. So it should be that high up. Now I'm gonna go in with my other finger and apply Sultry. Okay, so this is what it should look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other eye. Alright guys, so I'm gonna grab this black here, but I'm literally going to pat it, like barely adding anything, and I'm going to add a little bit right here into the outer crease just to darken that up a bit, mixing it with Sultry. This is totally optional to you, but I wanted to just make the outer end a little bit darker. Okay, so I'm picking up this Sephora felt tip liner, and this is actually waterproof. So I'm going to create a pretty thin line, or I'm gonna attempt to. Okay, so I went ahead and applied mascara, and this is the Maybelline Great Lash, and it's like curved like this. I'm actually skipping out on false lashes. Usually I try to skip out on it throughout the week if I can, just because I wear them so much. If I can go one day without it, that'd be great. I forgot to do my lips on camera, so I'm gonna do that right now. I am picking up my go-to Sephora. I literally have used this so many times on my channel. This is in Hot Sauce. This is a gel lip liner, so if you do have dry lips, this is actually better. It's more moisturizing than going in with like a pencil lip liner. So I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips and really focus on the outer ends right here to sort of create a bit of an ombre look. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of this gel liner right here. Okay, so I'm picking up my go-to nude shade. This is Can't Relate from Jeffree Star Cosmetics. This is his matte liquid lipstick. We're gonna apply that right onto the lid. Now what you can do is grab your finger or a brush and just blend that out. Alright you guys, so that is pretty much it. That is my soft glam tutorial. Make sure to subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you can be notified for every time I upload. Definitely let me know in the comments below what other tutorials you guys would like to see, or if you guys want to see anything else, like what kind of video ideas you would like to see, since I'm getting towards the end of the year and I want to kind of revamp my channel a bit for next year. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.